All right, so we just finished.
It's so hot out here in Oklahoma. So fucking hot. It's so fucking hot. It's like, it's 110.
And it's
so
a
fucking hot.
Ton of humidity. I don't know how people live here. Oh, we're almost to Amarillo, and behind me is Cadillac Ranch, which is basically just a bunch of Cadillacs buried in the desert, and then people can come and spray paint and do any type of artwork on them. It's really, really a cool kind of art project, I think. So we really haven't been like sitting down and talking about the places that we've been, because it's been too damn hot to like sit outside anywhere. So we finally made it. We are now in Nashville. We're out by a lake. It's a state park. We're just referring to it as the No Fun State Park, because everywhere we go there's signs that say you can't, no swimming, no pets, no alcohol, no anything fun. But the one thing we wanted to do was kind of catch up on some of the places we've been. So we want to talk about Oklahoma City. I'll preface this by saying Oklahoma City is going to sound like all we did was go to breweries and drink beer, because when we were in Oklahoma City,
all we did was go to breweries and drink beer.
But there's a reason for that. And that reason is it was so damn hot in Oklahoma City. Like, we decided to travel across the United States during a heat wave, and it was about between 105 and 110, and the humidity was through the roof. And the only place that's really dog friendly and air conditioned is breweries. Yesterday we broke our first rule, which was not to drive more than 6 hours, and we drove what, 8?
Closer to 9.
And then this morning we're kind of in a little bit of a dip. Tony Tao she woke up with a crick neck this morning. We did get out early and we went over to the Capitol just to kind of see what the Capitol looked like. Walked around it. There was a couple of interesting things there. They had a memorial to all of the Native American nations, and there was flags from all of the nations. And that was really, really cool to see.
It was a good walk around the Capitol too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice walk.
And then what did we do? We went to Brewing. We talked to the gal that was working the taps, and kind of asked her. We said, well, what is there to do in Oklahoma City? And she said, well, you're doing it. Basically, just go somewhere and drink. But it's just so we don't sound like we're just complaining about Oklahoma City. We did find this one brewery that had some really, really like eclectic, weird beers. And it actually was a recommendation from one of the brewers down at Broke Brewing. They had beers that were just out of this world.
Crazy.
Different.
I
had one that tasted like a pineapple upside down cake. We also had a dill pickle beer.
Part of me is like, I should be drinking out of the jar of dill pickle.
The thing that was weird about it was there wasn't any cold box and there wasn't any tap handles. So you would order your beer, and then they would like slide this big door open, go behind the door, close it back up, and then you'd wait about 5 minutes or so, and then they would open the door and they would come out with beers. And you had an alien theory about what kind of alchemy was going on behind the door. What was your theory?
Well, an alien landed and they were milking it for all the weird flavors.
I've never had beers that tasted like that before. I don't know if it's because they're milking aliens or not, but then we went over to Roughtail Brewing, a bit more of a traditional kind of brew house, a larger one. They had a pretty big selection of different beers. Their beers were meh, they were okay. I mean, we've always had our theory of trying to find the smaller craft beer places, specifically if you can find a proper brewery in an industrial park is how we say it. We drove into Russellville, Arkansas, because Russellville was where my grandmother was from. So we decided to come over to Dardanelle Lake outside of Russellville, Arkansas. The lake is really beautiful. There's a lot of trees around. We do have a lovely view of the power plant. across the, I don't know if it's a nuclear power plant or what. So Tony Tao, when it's 105 degrees outside and the humidity is through the roof, they always say what you should do is go find yourself a body of water to sit by because the wind blowing across the water will cool things down. Any truth to that rumor?
There's no fucking wind going on over here. Then after that, we drove up to Knob Hill?
Nebo.
Nebo Hill.
Nebo Mountain? Or,
Nebo, yeah.
which was a state park as well.
But it was up this windy road, this hill, and it was pretty steep. I mean, yeah.
No, the sign didn't say it was, it said it was, didn't say it was windy. It said road ahead, crooked and steep.
Crooked and steep, yeah,
And
not windy, not curvy, crooked.
It definitely was crooked and steep. I didn't get much footage going up, but I got some coming down, so I'll B-roll that so you can see how crooked.
There was a fabulous view. It was worth the drive up just to see this view.
And I can attest that it is. You've heard the rumor that as you go up in altitude, things cool down.
It was cooler up there.
It definitely cooled down. I mean, it went from like 104 degrees down to about 88 degrees, which doesn't sound like much, but it was a huge amount because it was so hot and humid.
And then we decided, well, we'll just go pick up some dinner and maybe a couple of beers.
and head back to the hotel room, right?
Hotel room.
So we pull over to a little gas station and convenience store, and of course I go in and I'm looking for just to get a 6-pack of whatever.
Bud Light.
But there's Bud Light, Bud Light. So so I'm looking, and there's no beer in the place. So I go up to the guy behind the counter and I said, so, because liquor laws are different throughout the country. So I go up to the guy behind the counter and I said, so what's the deal on buying beer here? Do you have to go to an ABC store or package store or what? He just looks at me and he goes, no sir, this here's a dry county. I said, well, that would explain why you don't have any beer, and away we went. So Russellville was, it was interesting. It was a cute little downtown and that we drove through.
I'm glad we stopped through there. Like I said, your grandmother grew up there, so it was kind of cool to tie into that.
Yeah. And then we left for Memphis, and we'll pick up Memphis someplace else. We'll talk about Memphis someplace else.
So cool.
Memphis was really, really cool. We saw a lot of cool, interesting things, and but that's for the next video. So that's it for this one. We'll see you in Memphis.